Good morning, our people. Welcome to the program. We are happy that you're here. Hopefully, I know our audience, they are everywhere, and we're here in USA, of course. So we had our little Thanksgiving holiday this past week. So we are very grateful for what God is doing. Like we keep telling you guys that God has done the work. The Christmas present is outside your door. All you have to do is to open up the door and pick it up and enjoy your present. So we want to thank Ninas and their group for oh my God, for their tenacity, for their effort, for their sleepless night, because these people don't sleep. I don't know how. By the time you wake up, you'll be wondering if there's spirit on the platform. Thank you guys for the work that you're doing. We know that this is the right way to go. We have seen a template of how it was done by our brothers and sisters in South Africa. So this is not, we are not reinventing the wheels, it's just a matter of understanding what we need to do. And then we move. We do want to thank our brothers and sisters out there that they were playing games before what Ninas is doing, but now they understand the way they just it's like you're cooking stew. You only use oil. You didn't haven't had onions. You didn't add tomato. You'll be drinking oil. It won't be stew. So thank you guys for all that you're doing. Please, as usual, help us to share and like and subscribe. These are other things that we need to do. Uh,
Follow us.
Follow, hit the notification button, all these things, they are doing their work. So let's, power on and do what we need to do so that our people will understand. We know that everybody now at least knows that it's constitution. Everybody now knows. Who's in? Oh, I didn't know. I've never heard about it. Every movie on them. I didn't eat crayfish now. So thank you, Ninas. We are so proud of your work. My name is Mona Chimsagan. Um, I'm in Houston, Texas. And today is November the 26th, 2022. Go ahead, sister.
Thank you so much, Sister Mona. Thank you, our viewers. Uh, those are watching, like stumbling upon us the first time. This is today. If today is your first day you're coming, or today is the first day you're seeing this video, Daughters of Truth video, you're welcome. You have stumbled on the right video that is packed with all the information that you need to know at this critical moment, especially coming based on truth, not propaganda, not fiction, but truth. What happened, what is happening, what the people are doing, where to go. So your steps are ordered. And those that come all the time, we appreciate you because this is a teamwork. So like my sister has said, please share the video to all your contacts, your groups in the church, your group in the society, your group in the community, even your classmates. Share. They need to know, they need to understand. They need to, even some other African countries, they need to get this information because we believe that once we are successfully done with what we are trying to do in Nigeria, there are other nations, other countries in Africa. We take clue from where we have stopped, and it will help to resolve all the conflicts that we are having in Africa and even beyond. This alone, if this is properly done by Nigerians, I'm telling you, we are so confident that it will increase the peace in the entire world because this is masterpiece. So,
Hmm.
thank you so much. Please follow us, like, hit the notification button on YouTube, and we'll just move. My name is Dr. Ekwi Simon Okube. I live in Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you so much. We'll continue to share.
Absolutely. So let's just use a few minutes to share that people will get the information. At least I can see it today with the share button. We are definitely happy to have you guys here. We are definitely not discouraged, so you shouldn't be. Let's continue this work. Consistency, perseverance. For the first time, people will see what it takes to have a plan and go through with the plan. Not once you're driving one way, if anything goes wrong, you leave your plan and jump into the evil forest. So for the first time, we will do it right and see the outcome and then actually enjoy the outcome at the end of the day, because that's what it's all about. We want so much more for our people. We are no longer here to celebrate mediocrity. We are no longer here to celebrate fakeness or money, 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 money. That's the one that drives me crazy. Everybody wants money, 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 money. Again. We are here to show that authenticity, hard work is as good as anything, just like our forefathers did so many years ago, that we can be successful by being ourselves, doing the work, not cheating anyone, and be able to be proud of the work that we have done. Thank you. Mm. Thank you so much. Continue to help us to share and like. Welcome, Ifi, former is Ogo. Welcome to the program. Please continue to help us to share. We're trying to conclude the program within an hour, so I will just go ahead and get started. As our topic goes, we send it out every week. The corruption is a destroyer of the society and even our collective destiny. Corruption is a destroyer of the society and collective destiny. You kill the current Nigerian union by toppling the basis of the union itself. And now you have come to cry about foreign manipulation that made you massacre innocent children, over 2 million in 1960 to 1970. This is according to Brother Tony Nadi, the NINA's secretary, about the so-called class of 1966 that came out to lament. It's like you stole, you ate the money for 60 years, and now you come to say, Chineke, I stole some money, I've been using it on myself. I shouldn't have done that. Anama, no. The military class of 1966, who became army generals by washing their hands in blood of the innocent, they finally just owned up that they were manipulated into butchering their people, unarmed civilians for that matter, and creating kwashiorkor in children in the southeastern region. In other words, they also built this fraudulent Unitary One Nigeria on human blood. They have continued to perpetuate and sustain this crime against humanity through corruption and manipulation of the truth. They think that they can wipe it off, right? Even Mr. Showinke now is saying like, oh, Biafran history, even if you remove it, everybody will still remember. But you guys were there when it was removed. Only a foolish man builds his house on quicksand, because when rain comes, the river rises and the wind blows. What will happen to the house? It will collapse. The Bible led us to know this. Therefore, Nigeria, anchored on the foundation of injustice and shedding of innocent blood, must collapse. It has no other outcome but to collapse, because the blood of innocent people will always avenge itself. So today, as usual, we call upon and appeal to the infamous military class of 1966 to find the courage and humility to completely own up to what went wrong, so we can begin to actively work towards a wholesome reconstruction or dismantling of this union of death that have done nothing but to destroy our collective destiny. We are here talking jazz. Some people are enjoying the money. Their children are overseas. They own houses in Timbuktu. They own 27 houses and 1 million houses, as if you're going to be able to live in all of them, when we can actually be our brother's keeper like it was meant to be, when we can actually worry about community well-being, not waiting for Obodo to come to the village during Christmas so that we can eat rice. We have to change our mindset. These things can be done. We can get rid of corruption. We can get rid of deceit. We can get rid of lies. We can get rid of fakeness. We can get rid of it's over. Nobody else lives like that. So we must do better, my people. Go ahead, sister, while I pull up the video.
Yes, we must do better because we are adults. We need to take responsibility of how we live, what the tomorrow we want to live for our children, what we want it to be like. Nothing happens like by accident. This country that we live in and every other country that you have run to, especially in Igbo, because it was too hot for you. Who made it too hot for you? Have you ever seen any other group of people scatter all over the way you are doing? Because it's too hot for you. You are looking for life. So you are looking for life any way you can find it. That shows that things are not normal. That shows the level of abnormality in the land you're coming from. However, where you are running to, somebody built it. Somebody sat down and said, things are not okay, let's fix it. That is what you're supposed to be doing, not running around all over and not shouting, come and help us, that clean us, that clean us. No, they will continue to kill you because they killed other people before you. But a time came when people sat down and said, you know what? We need to fix it. And that is what NINAS has done. NINAS went into research for years, did the research to find out what is going on. Immediately after the genocide that consumed over 3.5 million people. Today, they talk about the genocide in Israel, the one that in Germany that involved Israeli people. They call Holocaust. They talk about it. They talk about Rwanda genocide. Who mentions Biafra genocide? Nobody. They swept it under the table and moved on as if it were rats that just died. But we are from that region, and that is why we are saying no. And even the God of heaven is saying no, you're not going to sweep it under the table. And that is why you're having the trouble you're having in that geographical space called Nigeria. And you will never have peace until you resolve the injustice that was done against 2 million children that were starved to death. The blood of the innocent. They are under the Bible. There's a way the Bible put it. He said the souls of the innocently killed. We are under the altar crying and say, Lord, when will you avenge for our blood? And you think that you will continue and you will call your politicians that are deceiving themselves to move on just like that? No problem. Let's listen to what our brother has to say. Thank you, Stamuna.
Situation into the war, it became into the post-war repairs and reconstruction that should have been, reconciliations that should have been happening that didn't happen. They rather went on to impose a constitution in 1979 that was more or less the victory charter from that war, and now continue to construct Nigeria and its stupid democracy on that foundation that is wrong. Now coming out to, it was most pathetic watching the postulations of IBM Haruna. And so somebody must tell Haruna and the class of 66, and that class of 66 includes all of those who played one part or the other. In that class, we cannot leave out Olusegun Obasanjo. In that class, we cannot leave out Ibrahim Babangida. In that class, we cannot leave out Abdulsalam Abubakar. All of those in the 33 years, from that 66 to 99, all of the decrees that happened, Gowon is still alive. You created Kwashiorkor by starving children of my generation. And you've done nothing to even acknowledge that there was genocide against these people. 3.5 million people. You dismiss it and you hope to build on that. You are now wondering why blood is flowing all over the place. And then the terror networks have come here. You have a commander-in-chief, one of your colleagues in that class of 66. The same Lieutenant Muhammad Buhari that led people house to house, killing people from the east in the northern region of the time, is now your president and commander-in-chief. He was the spokesman of Boko Haram in all the time they were building up when Jonathan was president. He is the life grand patron of Miyetti Allah. Miyetti Allah being the proprietors of Fulani herdsmen, the fourth most deadly terror network on earth by Global Terror Index. Boko Haram having occupied the second position, in which case Nigeria is hosting the second most deadly terror group on earth and the fourth most deadly terror group on earth, and our president and commander-in-chief is directly linked to the two. Otherwise, what was the reason for his nomination as a spokesman for Boko Haram when Jonathan was put under such pressure to be asking for a meeting in Saudi Arabia? Was it not the same Buhari that said an attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the north when Hejrika was struggling to push them back? Has he still since been the patron of Miyetti Allah? Was it not Buhari that went into the treasury to take 100 billion to give to a Miyetti Allah that was claiming responsibility, that was taking responsibility most happily for the atrocities of Fulani herdsmen terror network? So in all of that, back to the class of 66 and what they have plunged Nigeria into. Our sovereignty has been compromised fundamentally. We have a president that threw our borders open to say people can come from everywhere, you know, and then we saw the kind of people who have come. Fulani have been brought in from everywhere, and they're causing havoc all over the place, and nobody's pursuing after them. The armed forces cannot do what they should have been doing because they say that their commander-in-chief is reason they can't do that. Put all of it together. Look at the constitution that has emerged, imposed in 1979 as victory charter from that war of 67 to 70, and then brought back to life by the decree of another member of that class in 1979, in 1999, Absalom Abubakar. And so the reason we have to address this now is that the country is heading into a stretch worse than what we saw between 64 and 66 that became 67 to 70. The same set of people, the same set of mindset, the same recklessness, the same refusal to listen. We are going to election instead of discussing the constitution the constitutional basis that has collapsed. Which Nigeria is IBM Haruna talking about? Which union? Which constitution? You want good governance. You want democracy. You're asking America to let you build up on the rotten foundation you have laid. It's a pity that Gowon, who presided over all of that rot, all of that mess, that resulted in the death of this number of people, 3.5 million people, is still alive. He hasn't found the courage to own up to what went wrong. And he's hoping that it will blow away. The blood of the innocent will always avenge itself. That's what is happening to everybody, everywhere across Nigeria where blood is flowing. Yep. Go and look at go and find out what transpired on that transaction of bloodletting. Find out what transpired between 1966 and 1970. Find out what transpired even after 1970 to the time of 1999. Find out how we came about the constitution we have. Find out how we went from 4 regions to 36 states. Look at this map. Look again at this map and find out who fractured us from the 4 regions of autonomy, 4 autonomous regions that had their constitutions, control over their assets, and all of that. Gowon must find the courage to own up to what they did wrong that became the basis of what is happening to us now. Ibrahim Babangida is still alive. He has to find the courage to own up to what went wrong. IBM Haruna has, in that interview, I think it's in 3rd of November, somewhere around the 3rd of November, Arise TV, been interviewed by Rufai and Ruben Abati. He did say that it was the manipulation of the foreigners that brought us to the inferno we had to manage. Yes, was the BBC, was Britain, that turned what should have been a family fight into a war that consumed so many, a war that turned this giant promise on the African continent into the mess it has become, into the global poverty capital, selling 3 million barrels of crude oil every day, half of which is being stolen by people who are not far from the pinnacle of governance. Otherwise, who is the oil minister? Who does the documentation that NNPC has to do around crude oil movement? Who presides over the Navy in terms of commander-in-chief, for which the Navy can look away that ocean-going tankers will be coming in and going out? Who do you think we are addressing? So we have a union disputed. Aye. We have a union on that dispute. And we declared that dispute in a manner that could be resolved if there's a bit more honesty. in the matter. But no, arrogance and dishonesty is reigning supreme. Yeah, until recently, Jeremiah Useni was still boasting all over the place about how he participated in the killing of Ironsi. And look at what is happening. David Mark, look at what is happening to your Idoma people. The young people do not know that it was David Mark that presided over the seizure of assets of Igbo people in Port Harcourt that they shared out as that they declared and shared out as abandoned property. You put a people, you target a people for elimination. They began to run home. You chase them to that place, bomb them for 3 years, starved children to death in the place. And then right after that, you seize all their assets and you are building your country on such a foundation of atrocity and injustice.
Shimo.
The Absalom Abaka and the Hassan Kuka that are doing a peace committee, you are building your democracy on a foundation of injustice, and you are asking people to come and sign peace accord. What hypocrisy! What hypocrisy! What peace can you find on a foundation of injustice? Who do we live? Who do we call? Amongst all of them, the same IBM Haruna was the minister for communication at the height of the glory of the military enterprise in Nigeria during the military governance era. If we thought Lai Mohammed was doing anything untoward today, go back and see what people like IBM Haruna did in those days, telling all kinds of tales that deceived everybody into where we have landed now. We must go back to the truth. The Nigeria that we agreed to have as one political union died in 1966 when the 5 constitutions that defined the union got toppled. What has been in place since then have been, the dummy. The carcass was hijacked by the caliphate, and that caliphate has managed to, institutionalize that carcass in the name of Federal Republic of Nigeria, but under a tightly controlled unitary system that has 68 items on the exclusive list, that has created states and local government areas in such a manner that they become a permanent political majority, holding the sovereignties and the assets of the owners of the land, turning Nigeria upside down to become the global capital for poverty and everything bad. The young people are running in every direction. They say it's Japa. They are running for their dear lives. From what? From people like IBM Haruna and the class of 66 and their depositions and impositions on Nigeria that have become constitution. And then we are talking about impunity. Section 6, subsection 6D. And I challenge the lawyers in the land, I challenge the media in Nigeria to find out why a 33-year period of immunity was embedded in the Constitution of Nigeria as Section 6, subsection 6D. Everything they did between the 15th of January and the 29th of May are put beyond the inquiry. Nobody can ask. So whether they killed in thousands or millions, or whether they seized the assets of people, the owners of oil block today, what is the meaning of oil block? You take Ijaw people's land, you take Ijaw people's oils, you take Ijaw people's waters, and you allot it to yourselves. Look at this map. Look at those who own those oil blocks. Place them on this map and see what we are talking about. That's the Nigeria you want to prosper. That's the Nigeria you want to grow. That's the Nigeria you think can become great. Nothing can be built on such a foundation of injustice. The owners of the land that you call Nigeria, the owners of the sovereignties you confiscated. Yes, the British started the confiscation in 1914. But the discussions we had between 1951 and 1959 that terminated in Lancaster House, becoming the independence of 1960, all of that have been washed away because our sovereignty is now in the hand of that caliphate that has seized control of all the economic assets, all the guns in the land, all the powers to do even the list of things. I can't generate electricity for myself. I can't build my roads. I can't conduct election to select who will govern me because somebody in Abuja is and we're saying, let us stop this journey to nowhere. Let us stop this journey to damnation, to go and fix the damaged basis of the Nigerian Federation. They say no. And they are relying on the immunity they had planted for themselves to come to insult our collective sensibilities on TV, pointing at America as the one that is stealing the oil and planning all kinds of things. The grievances of the constituent components of Nigeria, the grave constitutional grievances that has resulted in agitations, for which reason more than 75% of those you call Nigerians are now eager to take out their sovereignty from your failed Nigeria. Those were the things Ninas articulated in a manner that could be solved on the 16th of December in 2020. Putting a step-by-step proposition on how to proceed. But the arrogance of those who imposed the madness we have has led them into inviting us to election and how they will build good governance on top of a constitution that guarantees the kind of all of the atrocities we see, whether it's corruption or insecurity or the impunity or the decay in infrastructure. Everything we lament now flow from that constitution. Election can only renew the life of that constitution. And somebody will swear, whoever wins, will swear to govern and govern by and defend that constitution. That is what IBM Harina is telling us we are building upon.
Wow. 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 I guess only a tree that will hear that someone is coming to kill them, right? They will be standing there and not move. This is too much, this therapy. This is too much. Too much.
It is too much.
Mm.
Imagine your father did something atrocious, committed atrocity that is leading to your death and the death of your children. Do you need anybody to beg you to go and fix it? The land will swallow you. Go ahead.
No. I said I don't understand, my dear.
It's so terrible. So that is how we came to building on a foundation of corruption. You see our topic? It says corruption is a destroyer of the society and collective destiny. Something happened. Some people swept it under the rug and went ahead to build on a foundation of corruption, fraud, lies, manipulation, and propaganda. You want to build a big house on quicksand. The Bible will say, when rain comes, when river rises, it will blow everything away. That is what you are saying today. That is what is. So somebody will say, what are the causes of corruption? This magnitude of corruption that we are looking at. Look, as Nigeria is a case in point, we want to look at Nigeria so that we'll say, what is going on? Is it that my people will say, that means, is it that the scissors is not sharp or that the barber has no skills, no barbing skills? So we would work to get people to it. Now, look at the country size. Nigeria, the country size, this Nigeria, you cannot manage it as a unitary state. It is too big. We're just being practical here. Example, Nigeria is over 2 million, just like America is. America is about 200 million, sorry. And America is like 300 million. That is why they run a kind of federal system where each state out of the 50 states, it's kind of independent. They have their laws and everything. That was what we had before. Then the class of 66 happened to us. The military class of 66, Obasanjo, IBB, Babangida, what are all these names are called, they know themselves. These are men that had no business with administration. They were just called to protect the territory of the country. They had no administrative skills. They had no professionalism about anything, how things are managed. No. And for years, they kept using decree this, until everything got bastardized. But somebody was leading them. Somebody was pushing them. The people that fought Biafran war, that killed Biafrans, are the same people. inside this class of the 60s, and they promoted themselves after killing innocent people to generals.
Promoted and rewarded.
Promoted and rewarded themselves. Now they're managing a big entity that was supposed to be managed region by region. They put it together, lumped it together, sat on it. Every year after year, one Mungu out of this group will come and be in charge. Every year, when they finish, this one will step aside. There was a program we told you here, said that the leadership of Nigeria is like a revolving door. This one will enter, this one will come out, this one will enter, this one will come out. So this
they are born to rule.
Exactly. So the structure is not right. The size is not right. Then because we are a diverse people, we can't stop being diverse. I'm an Igbo woman. I can't stop being an Igbo woman. Yoruba person can't stop being Yoruba. We have ethnic nationalities. These were nations that were lumped together, shuffled together, and balkanized. The structure is wrong. The size it needs a different type of management. What you will breed is corruption. You're building on corruption. What you get is corruption. With all this corruption, that is what brought the resources allocation formula that they're using. It's fraudulent. It is not the type that will allow us to manage our resources properly. As a result, criminals are coming from every part of the world to steal our resources. Right, we want to make a correction. There's one of it was a late Abacha's CSO, Chief Security Officer, Major Al Mustafa. Anybody that grew up around the time that Abacha was in power, you could see General Abacha. He was the people that they would send to kill and who kill you, kill this. So he did a lot of that. So he was giving a talk, political talk, because we told you here that what they do is they remove their army uniform, their military uniform, remove it, carry Baba Riga, and wear. I think we have some of the pictures. If anybody, my sister, if it's available, we can just show our people. They know him, but just to show them. So this guy is now into politics, and he's bringing up some things that we already knew. He was part of them. But most of the time, from his speech, you found out that he was sent. He knew people that sent him to commit some of these things. He knew some of that. He's involved. He knows, and he can say even more. And a lot of them, he has his colleagues that we are already working with, that work with all these generals, because these generals did not work alone. When we say class 66, they have what people will call IBB boys. They have their boys. They continued the corruption that they built. It's bad that you built corruption and then you continue to work on it and even perpetuating, use lies, manipulating truth so that everybody is all confused. So that guy has a lot to say. And our people need to bring him, not just saying, to confess. We're talking about confession because we're saying, how do we get this class of 66? Okay, look at him there. That's Hamza Al Mustafa. He has a lot to say. People that sent him, what he did and what he did not do. The class of 66, the army generals, those so-called army generals, because you kill your people, your citizens, and then make yourself general and then continue to be president of the crime that you have committed. These are war criminals that should be tried. No. They moved the 1999 constitution, turned it around, and continue to use it to perpetuate evil. So there's something that he said. He said that oil was discovered in the 70s. No, my brother. Oil was not discovered in the 70s. Before independence, Britain had been siphoning oil from Southeast and South.
World War I. Sir.
Exactly. So before then, that's what they used to fight that war. That's what they used to execute. The oil from that land is what they used to execute World War I, World War II. So the oil was not discovered in the 70s. However, what happened was that when that war was going on, because we will put history straight for you, when that war was going on, when Nigeria, this so-called Nigeria, saw that Biafrans, we are powerful and are moving, imagine a people led by Colonel Ojukwu, trained in Britain. This is not the type of crooked. Ojukwu was not a military guy that just picked, killed people and became general.
Mm-hmm.
He was trained. This is him leading his people with other military guys that were trained. So Nigeria was not a match in that war. However, they now had to go and bring in the colonial masters, Britain, all of them, they know themselves, to come and help them execute this war. As a result, they committed this genocide that we are talking about. And that also exposed the resources in the land. These criminals that they brought to come and help them fight war and kill all the Ndibos, they now, what we did, because it's that of thing that Hezekiah did. Hezekiah went and brought in outsiders, Nebuchadnezzar from Babylon, to come and see the resources in Israel. What did he do after that? He attacked, Nebuchadnezzar attacked Israel and stole all the resources in Israel. So it's the same thing that this class of the six did. In trying to, apart from kill their people, they went to bring in very mighty enemies, very strong enemies, very greedy enemies, and expose them to all the resources on the land. And when that finished, when they finished committing genocide, because that is why they switched it into killing everybody, because when they saw the level of resources in the land, they said, okay, let's kill off all these rats so that we take the resources in the land. They couldn't do it. They continued 3 years going, they could not do it. Everybody was sweating, because it's not about wrestling somebody on the ground. As you wrestle somebody to the ground, you will be there holding yourself, fighting with that person. You're not going to go out because the person is not dead. He's holding you. Both of you will be there. So they exposed the resources in the land. These vultures that came from Western countries not saw all the resources, the one that they didn't see before. So after the war, that whole territory became like a bazaar spot for all the vultures. And everybody wanted to have a piece of their own. Now, because of all this, it was now as if oil boom happened in the 70s. That's not when they discovered the oil. So this is a correction, because we are daughters of truth. When people say things, we investigate and come and tell us. Some of these things, we live through them. So we're able to tell you what it is that happened. That is why everybody wanted a piece of the oil. And then the siphoning, the stealing. So for them to do that, they needed to put Mungus in charge of these resources. Mungus that will go and steal it for them. That's why you hear oil block. They share the oil. These are people's land. You share it and call it block. You go to people's territory and their land and begin to balkanize and take to and say, and reduce people's land and say, this is a block. Says who? Who does that? So just that correction, and then we continue what we're saying about the corruption. You know, what causes corruption? We told you the size, we told you the structure, we told you allocation of resources in the land, then lack of proper constitution, because constitution is the nation. The type of constitution you have is what we say the type of nation you're going to have. There's style and size of governance, you know, what is the style? And we told you, you can use, because all this while, what we have is dictatorship, not democracy. We have not started democracy in Nigeria. Democracy hasn't started. You can't start democracy when you don't have a constitution made by the people. The people are the ones that will make the constitution. That's why it's called constitution. That is constituents. The constituent members of the country will now say how they want to be governed. And then from there, they will form governments. And then from government, you have rule of laws. So you've not done all that. So what you have in Nigeria is not democracy yet. You have dictatorship. So the military people that conquered the whole territory in that war are now the ones still in charge. It's either they are in charge or their boys will be in charge. There's no way the people have fought to get their own leaders. They don't even have their structure. How do you have your leader? So there's lack of rule of law. So because we told you there's no constitution, there's no government, there's no rule of law. So how are you going to get it? Then there's failure of governance, because all this thing will continue until whatever charade that you're building, calling it government, will collapse. That is what has happened in Nigeria. There's failure of governance. You have a lot of ungoverned spaces, and then the terrorists will come in, because these things, like somebody's like something. They say, I remember when we were small, they say, I found lost and found, careless owner. You know, they'll say, oh, I found something. No, that means the owner was careless. That's why I found it. So we have careless Nigerians, and then people will find your resources. Terrorists will find them. All these vultures and everything on our Fiona as well as on Nigeria. That's how they saw it in my land. Like, the land is not properly governed. It's like no man's land. So every vulture, every mad person, everything will be here. Everything is happening in Nigeria. That's why everybody, people will say, let's go to Nigeria. It's like you pack streets, you pack gold on the streets. You pack gold on the streets where the people that own the streets
going around.
Exactly. They have not even eaten food. There's another thing that man Mustafa said again, because we said they know certain truths that they need to confess. Using it to do politics is not the right way. So he said that in 1995-1996, uranium was discovered in Sambisa forests leading to Chad. Those that have seen that video, we don't want to play it here because some of these things we don't really need to listen to the manipulated lies. If you know the truth, you will be putting it. If you're a statesman, you will use that truth to deliver the people, not to use it to do a campaign, political campaign, when there's no even democracy to start with. If you know the truth and you are ready, you are serious, you're now ready to begin to speak truth, so that we will find solution to what is happening to our people. You'll be working with the statesmen and women that are ready to resolve this issue, not coming out as a champion, and then you start to be saying it as if you all know it. We know them. When people were committing these atrocities, we saw you. We knew. It's just that you are wearing a military uniform, and we cannot talk to you people, because when we talk, you people arrest people, kill them, kidnap them. There's a lot of confession that Mustafa has to do. Not this one that he's doing. He never ready. This one people will say, you never ready. You never holla. So, Sambisa forest, because somebody will say, what is happening in that forest that they say Boko Haram is inside it, and the military, Nigerian military, cannot go and dislodge Boko Haram? There's a show we showed you. We had a show here that we showed you when aeroplane was flying off that untarred road in the forest. He said, what is that aeroplane doing there? That is why they created the ungoverned spaces. They made those spaces to be ungoverned and tell you that terrorists are there,
available to their criminals,
and drove out the indigenous peoples there. Took them to IDP camps. What? And we've told you people in this our show that anytime you see crisis in Africa, go and look in the land. There is some resources. There are resources in that land that these evil Western people need. And that is why they will work with the local government, the local so-called leaders, the so-called leaders of Nigeria, so that that area will be like left for them. It will become ungoverned. They are the ones producing these terrorists. Who is sponsoring terror? There's a program we did here. We told you, say, herdsmen, for instance, they carry sticks, following cows. Who is now buying AK-47 and AK-49 for these ordinary human beings?
And then they will go around or go ahead and tell us in the media that is farmers and herders clash.
Exactly.
They will give them the gun, confuse people with their fake media news.
Exactly. So all these things, the more you look, the more you look, the less you see to our people. But we are telling you on Daughters of Truth program that the more you look, you should be seeing more, not seeing less. Do not allow them to be telling you all these lies, and you are carrying on with them. So Mustafa has come to carry on with half truth, half lie. And we're saying it's not going to happen this time around. Daughters of Truth are here. When you speak that your lie, we will come here and tell our people this one, the one that is truth. So, Mustafa, we're correcting history for you. Then we say, who was in charge of 1972? because he said, oh, 1972, they came because they found a uranium in Sambisa forest. They came and saw propaganda and did this and took over. Okay, well done. Who was in charge? Who signed those documents that you said they had signed a document in 1972 and agreed that Nigeria should not be allowed to grow? Who signed the documents? You see what I'm saying? You're not saying the truth yet. You are still trying to do political muggle to our people with the truth that you have, rather than work with Ninas, people that are sitting down to deliver the people. You want to use it to do politics? You want to use truth to do politics? Truth will be part of your campaign so that they will say you know and they will vote you in so that you come and become president. President of where? A nation, a country that is built on fraud and corruption. So that 1972, you know, it was immediately after the Biafran War. The Biafran War genocide, we call it because it was a genocide. It happened 1967 to 70. So by 1972, the class 66 is still in charge. Class 66, they are the ones. They know themselves, signing all these documents. By 2015, they saw the reason to bring in terrorists. It's still the same plan. Those people drove away the people and began to mine those minerals. In the north, we have told you, they have tin and columbite, they have gold, they have uranium, they have all sorts of minerals in the northern part of Nigeria. Who has been mining them? Where did they sell them to? We lived in the north. I lived in the north. I grew up in the north. So when I tell you things, I know what is there. So it's not hearsay. We see what they did. So initially they will use the locals to mine these things. After a while, they will drive them because they want more. You know, they're greedy. They want more. So they will bring in terrorists to come and kill the people because they're also farmers, and then drive them out of that place, take them to internally displaced people's camp, and then begin to steal more and more what is on land. But we are saying, so who is the government in charge? Who were the traditional rulers? Who are the traditional rulers in Northeast, Northwest? Their sons, they got their sons hooked on hard drugs in order to use them as terrorists. What were you doing while that was happening? Did you not see what was happening? Why do we have traditional rulers? Is it not to micromanage the people, their culture, and everything? Where are the traditional rulers? But they are working with the politicians. Where are the church leaders? They are working with the politicians. Where are the social influencers? They are working with the politicians. So these are the things there. They grab government from good luck, and then in foreign and had their foreign partners begin to exploit these mineral resources. This lie must stop. This lie must stop. He said something about, oh, they stole the satellites of Nigeria. We say, where is military that are stealing Nigeria's satellites? These are cock and bull stories. Anywhere the indigenous people are being killed, like we told you, something is in that land. Go and check it. They want to exploit it. Boronu, there's something in the land. Southern Kaduna, there's something in the land. Plateau, there's something in the land. This rascality must stop. We have unresolved disputes. These are part of the things that cause corruption in the land. Because when we pick up a point, we explain it to you. Unresolved disputes in the land is another thing that can cause corruption. When people don't understand themselves, how will people understand themselves when there are unresolved issues being manipulated against the people? We are diverse, we know, but we have unresolved disputes that needs to be resolved. That is when we can begin to work together. Mustafa, he said suspicion will end. He said, oh, we need to stop suspecting one another. You're suspecting one another because we have disputes. And it will end when we resolve the injustice in the land. When we resolve all these things that we are mentioning that has happened, and it's still happening. they need to be resolved first. We need to use facts and truth to reconcile, not to use it to do campaign. All these lies need to stop. Another thing that can bring corruption is international interference. When we have mentioned it to you, when these people come outside, they come and begin to interfere in the government. Why? Because they want to save the resources in the land. So according to Mustafa, these lies need to be corrected, not using it as a thing to do campaign. Our people need to do more. There's something else will remind you. Remember, immediately after the killing of Biafrans, which say ended 1970, these people, this class of 66, came in and stole all the resources in the land. Like my sister mentioned earlier on, they shared these resources in the land. So they gave themselves oil blocks. Go and check. There's no army general that was in that a military class of 66 that does not have chunk of Nigerian resources as their personal property. Some have oil a block. Obasanjo has Otafam. Ask him who sold Otafam to him. How did he get to be in charge of a whole several communities as his personal property? Is it his father that allocated the land to him? How did it happen? Now, apart from stealing these resources and sharing it to themselves, they starved 2 million Igbo children to death. Created Kwashiorkor, like we said. So all these things, apart from all this one they did, they carried Biafran women to themselves. We told you about the resources that they shared. Most of them married Igbo women. IBB married an Igbo. These are booties. They took Igbo women as war booties, took the best ones to themselves, and then the remaining one they shared to their emirs, the blind and the crippled in their place. We're talking about justice. They stole the resources of Biafrans and gave each person 20 pounds per account, not per family, per account. Where did they take those resources to? Who took those resources? We're talking about injustice. Then they brought the policy of abandoned properties. Those properties, where are they? Who did that? And then they ceded Bakassi to Cameroon to thank them for helping them to execute that war. When they used lack of food, they closed that border because the Cameroon border is part of the borders they closed in order to starve the children to death. We're talking of injustice. So if you don't, my people say, if you don't know where the rain started beating you, you will not know where it will stop. These are the injustices in the land that we need to revisit before we start talking of, oh, let's unite, let's live in unity, let's live in harmony, I'm coming to unify everybody, I'm coming to do this, I'm the champion that will unify everybody, says who? So we now go to impacts of corruption in governance. It weakens democracy. We have mentioned some of these things. We'll just run through it. It weakens the nation. It weakens the territory, the territorial integrity of the place. It will help them, as they create terrorists, like they will say that, oh, they created Boko Haram. Yes, we know you created Boko Haram. So it's to weaken the territorial integrity of the people that they want to conquer. They expose the nation to bigger and greedy enemies. Then changing demographic area, they will move the people like we told you, replace them with people. That's where the Fulani is coming. So as they are removing the owners of the land, they are bringing their own people. The Fulani from Mauritania, the Fulani from Chad, the Fulani from everywhere they are scattered. Because Fulanis are known to be nomads, moving up and down. So they will use them to replace the original owners of the land. And doing that, they can easily continue to siphon the resources because it's only the owners of the land that can safeguard their resources. But when they bring these non-indigenous people to occupy the land, they will continue to siphon the resources. So it's about resource control. They weaken the system and the tool of government, like security apparatus, to make it weak. And then that's what corruption, the impact of corruption. The impact of corruption, we talk about undermining sustainability, developmental goals. These are the things that corruption will do. Corruption will slow down the overall development of the country, create negative national image. That's why everywhere say, oh, Nigerians are corrupt, Nigerians are corrupt. This is just what the impact of Nigeria. What of the electoral system? What's the impact of corruption in electoral system? Rigging of elections. We never produce leaders that will lead us. We will never produce leaders that will lead the people, that will be minded about the best interest of the people. Is always for themselves. That's what will happen. There is no continuity. It's part of the effect of the impact of corruption in the land. No continuity, no accountability. It will not happen. It's part of it. Political parties are more interested in winning elections. They are not interested in helping the people. No, it's not about the people. It's about getting the position so they will share the resources and continue to share resources. That's why they want to win at all costs. They will use truth to campaign and do politics rather than use it to build, to restore the land to the people. Candidates make promises that they cannot keep or deliver. So what of economic impacts? We look at the impact of corruption on the economy of the people. We're going to have loss of revenue to foreign entities. That means loss of job opportunities. Mustafa mentioned that, and then we're telling them, more, and you need to come and say more. Because he mentioned about the sabotage and the destruction of local industries. We know these things now. That is because of the corruption they have built. That is why they're able to do these things. So they will destroy local industries, and they continue to bring in useless products from foreign land, making Nigeria a dumping ground, a dumping ground for substandard foreign products. He mentioned fire and textile industry. We know these things, but what is causing it? The 1999 corruption, 1999 constitution. Yeah, 1999 corruption.
That should be the right name. 1999
corruption called constitution. So you see what we're telling you, that Peter cannot do anything. Peter Obi cannot do anything about these foundational problems that needs to be fixed. The problem is bigger than Peter Obi. If he tries it,
and it's not about Peter Obi, it's not about him at all.
Exactly. It's not about him. We are talking about, we have deliberate sabotage by foreign powers and local powers. We tell you about international, external colonizers and internal colonizers. These people are there. These people will continue to work except the structure changes. So these people will continue. They don't need your permission. They will do what they want to do. And this is the same P2B that had to go to these external colonizers to get permission to pick presidential tickets, to even start running. Are you not seeing it? So another impact on the economy is loss of international trade negotiation capacity. Mustafa mentioned in his video. Why is it happening? Why is that happening? That's the question people should be asking. Why did all those happen? That's the question you should be asking. You can't even protect your territory physically, let alone talking about using it to do campaign, that you're going to boost international negotiation. All these are lies. Mustafa is not able to do anything. P2B can't do anything. Atiku cannot do anything.
Investing in Nigeria is like giving on your guy. You give him your millions and your retirement. You say, go and invest.
I said, take it. So you have not protected the territory. Insecurity is destroying everywhere. And you're talking about protecting the market and international trading capacity. Does it make sense? Okay, we go to oil politics. The oil that he mentioned oil politics. Oil politics, corruption, and fraud. Why is it so? So that they can siphon the oil abroad, like you said. Who is doing it? We should be asking those questions. Those funds are now being used to fund terrorism against Nigerian people. All that money they siphoned out that you can't account for, they are using it to now build terrorism against the people, so that more failure will continue, and then Nigeria will be run over like Afghanistan. Who has been in charge of the oil? Who has been the petroleum minister, the gas? Since Abacha's time, these are the questions our people should be asking. Onshore, offshore, selling of oil. Who is doing it? Why is he doing it? Why are they doing it? These are the questions should be asking. Let the politicians begin to call names, not starting, and stop speaking parables to our people, using truth to do politics. You cannot get anywhere with that. You cannot. So corruption will create inefficiency in every aspect. As a result, they're going to have poor wages for workers. And the labor union, they will start organizing protests, doing strike here and there. And there will be loss of hours and resources. Their leaders are making money. Those leaders of town union, is that not how Oshimolo came? Oshimole. He was a labor union leader. From there, he now became a politician and went to Edo State to take all the resources in Edo State. And then married himself one small young girl that he went to court, which they took back from him, I believe.
Rewarded himself.
When the money he paid finished, the woman went back to where she came from. These people cannot fix the problem. That's what we're telling our people.
They are not capable. They don't have the capacity.
No, they don't. So there's economic loss and inefficiency everywhere. There's distortion of government income and expenditure because of 1999 Constitution. That is what we're saying. The so-called elder statesmen are still the ones nominating these politicians, sponsoring these politicians, promising to bring change. How? We ask you how. How will you bring this change? If these things we are saying in 1 hour, we can't finish telling you these things, but we can open it up for you to now go and get more information for yourself and understand what Ninas is saying. This thing will always continue to hamper the economic development of the people. Corruption. Corruption will discourage investments. Corruption will discourage anybody that is trying to return, like my sister said. People trying to come in from abroad, because we have professionals abroad that should be able to come and turn Nigeria around. The corruption that you're building upon will not allow them to come. There's wastage of resources everywhere. This is what corruption can cause. You're building on corrupt foundation. Financial institutions, see the money they just changed. What did they do with the currency that they changed? They just changed the color. That's what they did. The old one and the new one. Are they not the same? Corruption will destroy any society. Corruption will destroy our collective destiny. So we need to fix the corruption first. We need to fix it before we begin to do anything. My sister will continue on the impact of this corruption in any society.
I was calling up the old money and the new money.
Okay. So look at this. You see, when we take corruption in America, that dollar, because when people like to compare America, when you tell them this needs to be corrected, they will say, "Oh, what about America? What about America?" We are telling you should not be talking when people are talking. When nations are speaking, please, Nigerians, can you keep quiet and learn? That dollar you're seeing is not just money; it's an instrument. That dollar. If you put it on that light and see all the gadgets embedded in American dollar, that's why it's difficult for you to put it somewhere without their system dictating where it has gone. You are kidnapping somebody and you use dollar. America, if they are able, they will trace you with that money. If they want to. That's how powerful the American dollar is. With that money that in Nigeria, they'll say, "Oh, I'll see Nigerian police." They'll say, "Bring Naira, let's mark on it." America has already marked all their money. If they want to trace any dollar anywhere, they have it. In America here, we don't even have police stations. The police vehicle of a policeman in America is an office. They say office is a nation self. If you have a peep into the typical American police vehicle, the gadgets inside there, you can monitor everything everywhere just from that spot. This is an era of technology. People are using technology to do their things, move forward. We are here. They are driving us backwards because we are building on corruption. 1999 Constitution is corruption personified, and it was put in place by this corrupt Class 66 that fought war against Nigerians and won that war and shared the booties of war to themselves. I'll allow my sister to continue because we're talking about the impact of corruption. We have given you the impact on governance, the impact on economy. My sister wants to come in and discuss about the fabric of the society. Go ahead, please, my sister.
Sister, I like the way you said that these people, this class of 1966 that actually committed crime against us, we have continually rewarded them since that 1966 for what they're doing. If it's
Yes.
not their children, it's their homeboys. If it's
Yes.
not their homeboys, it's their good old boy network. If it's not that, it's their wife, it's their sister, it's their aunt. And our people are not saying stop. Let's fix this. We'll go ahead and continue on the impact of corruption on the fabric of our society. We can already see that our culture is gone, right? Even my children here, we're having a discussion. My daughter was telling me how people back home are criminals. Because if they will call you on WhatsApp, that we're trying to connect back home, and lie to them that some grandmother is in the hospital and they should send money. Like things that we are trying to change, the things that we are crying about here in America for it to be better. Our people are adopting every one of them. People are piercing their ears. Men are wearing lipstick and the comedy, because that's how it was. You would think they will take off after the comedy. No, they will find a guy to sleep with. That's how everything is funny to us. Our hair. How can a man be wearing pants and you're seeing his underwear? Does that even make sense?
No.
Prison mentality. Our cultures and value system, they have destroyed it. Are we talking about impunity and injustice? Impunity and injustice. God says, in order for you to provide justice, you have to be right. What does right mean? You have to be righteous, right? So if you are not right, there is no way for you to provide justice, because that justice must come from you being righteous. We know that corruption fuels mediocrity rather than meritocracy. We don't have any morality left. Our professional standard is so low. Mama will go to the hospital with an eye infection. They will tell her she has a brain tumor that is pushing on that eye, so that the doctor will send money to go and have surgery that is not needed. Mama will come to get Tylenol. You will give her medication. You won't tell her the name of the medication, so that when her daughter calls her, she will say, "Oh, doctor, I went to the hospital. They gave me Tylenol." You will cover the name.
Yes.
So that we'll come back to you to get medication. Like it's like everything is government is against us and we are against each other. No more empathy towards humanity. No trust, no commitment, no dedication towards building a better society for our children, and we are giving birth. We are giving birth, believing God to do it for us, when every day, every action that we take is atrocious. Wickedness personified. Even if Buhari and his cohorts are against us, the class of 1999, the criminal empire, even if they are against us, why are we against each other? Crime is everywhere. Ungun men or known gunmen. Survival of the fittest. What about the grandmother in the home? What about the widows? Or the childless woman that didn't have any person, and now she's in her 70s? Do we still have those children that will go and fetch her water? Do we still have those that will say, Mama, I'm a name or let me go and get you some. Mama, here's some water. Because we are busy trying to be Americanized, being who we are not, because of the corrupt environment that we find ourselves in. So when we say that our collective destiny has been destroyed, it's an understatement. What about the impact on law enforcement? The law enforcement is the criminal. They're the one, propagating organized crimes everywhere. Abuse of and violation of human rights. They will kill you. You steal cell phone. My people will be so angry, they will burn you alive over phone. When Okorocha and his cohorts are spending billions and they have houses everywhere and all of them are eating money, you burn your brothers over phone that you can take back and use it as a teachable moment. I said, I know you understand this. Let's work together so we can have a better community where if you deserve a phone and work hard for a phone, you will get a phone. But no, the wickedness is so high, even after your midweek service, even after you're praying, even after you're fasting, that you will burn your brothers and sisters over. Safety, not guaranteed. Usually by this time, everybody say, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. When you only Nigeria is on fire. That's what you're hearing. Because our safety is not guaranteed. Are we talking about the orphans, the weak, the ones that you beat up any kind of way because there's nobody to speak for them? A little child will come to your house to be a housemaid. Instead of you to teach and mold them like your father and your father's father did, you will torture the child because it's not yours, you and your madam. And you're okay with that.
That's if they don't rape the child, right? If they're not, if the woman does not organize.
They have done so much now. Raping one looks like
Yes.
it's a nicer thing than
Every
torture.
night, your husband is raping the child, and you are there answering wife.
And you're
If
there.
they do that to your own child, your daughter, will you like it?
It's insane. Denial of access to justice. The thing is too much. Then we go to infrastructure. God forbid if you have an accident. We have couple of friends running businesses at home. I said, you're running business. You think you're making money. What happens when you have accident? My dear, there's no hospital. People die every day because they're looking to take him to hospital A, hospital B, hospital C, and they will die of hypoperfusion. Failures everywhere. We spend a lot on projects that's supposed to cost $1. It will cost trillion. Somebody was asking the UN to give them money for furniture expenditure that is $20 billion, not even naira dollars. Forgetting again on furniture. As we are watching, the quality of education. That used to come with a suitcase from Nigeria, they will come here and challenge the American system and become lawyers, doctors, this and this. Nowadays, people are struggling. Everything that we know of that's supposed to, sustain humanity and help humanity, you guys have destroyed all of them through your corruption. Unemployed labor, no job creation. Healthcare has gone into flames. And we know that the allocation of public procurement contracts through corruption will always lead to a lower quality of infrastructure and public service. So when we say that we're in a dire situation to get things turned around, we are not kidding. When we talk about the standard of living, the impacts of corruption and standard of living, there's already empirical evidence that suggests that corruption lowers investment, retards economic growth to a significant extent. That's why Ghana is about buruburu. I know gross poor and American gross. Na ihe niile ya na-ada ka na-ata popcorn because we don't even know what that is all about. Poverty everywhere. Division, inequality, dysfunctionality everywhere. Children are sleeping in the bush. 13-year-old are sleeping in the bush with another 13-year-old for 2 weeks. Mama and papa don't know where they are. When we are growing up, if my mother calls you before it gets dark, just grind some pepper. Pepper and bring it because she's going to use it and clean you up. But now children will be hiding in the forest. Nobody will see them until somebody will catch them or whatever for weeks. Where are our mothers? Corruption, everything may be child. And we are going to election to continue the fraud when we know that we are building on a faulty foundation that is about to fall on top of our heads. Like my sister said, corruption undermines the state's legitimacy and the rule of law. If we don't have the rule of law, no heaven, no God will come and save you from it. Then we looked at the impact on the environment. Corruption is one of the drivers behind deforestation and improper use of natural resources. As we're speaking, people are coming from China. Somebody was telling me coming from China to Obo, demanding their hand able to see our trees, our palm trees, all the trees. And when we are talking about erosion, when it will come, you your whole house, because it's not their land. When something doesn't belong to you, you don't have any incentive to take care of it because you have your other land. So you destroy this one and then you move to yours. Water and air, they are so polluted. We know what is happening in the riverine area. Flood and erosion. We're still waiting for the impact of that recent flooding that took place, because it's coming. We told you guys 3 weeks ago what's going to happen. The disease that will infest the place, you guys will never see it. You will never imagine it in your head. The consequences of these actions from corruption impacts the livelihood of local communities whose existence is tied to the environment. You see, we have no more time to waste. The earlier that we call off this election, the earlier that we close shop, the earlier that we call for referendum, so that people can decide what they want. Because we want to emphasize that people can decide if they want to belong to Nigeria or not belong to Nigeria, and we move forward once that decision is made. And if we are going to move forward, we decide how we are going to live. We will have a contract and discuss how we are going to live. It won't be the oil in Jigawa will belong in oil in Bayelsa will belong in Jigawa. And we're telling our people, the so-called educated, I don't want to start calling names, because people will say we are calling names, educated, the elites. Let's give them their fancy names, that don't understand this elementary level thing here, that our brother, it's not elementary though, it's just that our brother made it so that it won't be some nuku lawyer only will understand it. He made it possible for all of us to understand that we have to bring down this faulty foundation so that we can build a home that we are proud of. Go ahead, sister.
I was trying to interact with people on the platform. Thank you so much, San Enuma, Brother Disney and Sydney, sorry. And all of you interacting there. I was trying to follow your conversation. Thank you so much, because that's why I would say this is a teamwork. While we are doing presentation, because some of these things they are saying, they're not new. Everybody knows it. We're just trying to make your thought process to come together so that you know how A is connected to B and connected to C and connected to D, and all these things are linked together. Because once the Nigerians have on a true picture of how these things are connected, the solution is just immediate.
That's it.
Yeah, my sister mentioned it. South Africa went through it for 80 years. Apartheid was thriving. The black people were dying, and the so-called colonizers were enjoying and having fun. Today, the people colonizing us are the elites that my sister mentioned. And inside that elite, you have the church leaders, you have the traditional leaders, you have the political leaders, you have the social influencers. They put themselves together in one container, sharing the resources, destroying everything that is on their pathway, while the people, the rest of the people, are on this side enjoying, dying as a result of this, their rascality. And Ninas has come here to present a ready-to-use template. Somebody said, what are we going to do? I say, get everyone that is agitating for change to embrace this ready-to-use template by the Nigerian Indigenous Alliance for Self-Determination.
Is the key to jailbreak, right?
That is the key to jailbreak. That's the only thing that you need to do. And for you to know what is going on, they have gone ahead on the 16th of December 2020 to do what you call constitutional force majeure. I heard one quack lawyer was saying, oh, constitutional force majeure is when you have war. Do we not have war in Nigeria as we speak? Do we have peace? What is war? What is your definition of war? In America, when one citizen dies, everybody, there's breaking news. But in Nigeria, we have lost millions, and we're still losing millions.
And it's not enough.
Millions. And somebody said it's not war yet. What will happen when there's war then? So that's constitutional force majeure has been done. And there is ongoing rejection of the union, because that's what is going on. The people are rejecting the union of death. We have told you there is active rejection and there's passive rejection. All of you that are jackpying, what you have done is passive, indirect rejection of the union. You are saying, by your movement, what you're saying is that you have rejected Nigeria. Because you have not rejected Nigeria, you medical doctor, you would have stayed in Nigeria. Since you love Nigeria so much. I mean, my platform, some of my people, they love Nigeria so much. You love Nigeria so much. What dishonesty carried you out of Nigeria? Why are you not practicing in Nigeria? Did you not swear the oath when you went to medical school to come and treat the people? Are you treating the people from UK? Are you treating the people from US? Speak to your conscience. Why did you reject Nigeria? Why did you escape from Nigeria? Because there's death going on. Either the death of your career, death of yourself physically, death. That's what the union has become to you. And that is why you ran away. So there's, right now as we speak, more people are rejecting that union because that's what it means. Some people are coming out to speak it openly, to say we are agitating for this, for agitating for Dudua, we are agitating for Biafra, we are agitating for Igbo nation, we are agitating for Ijaw nation, we are agitating for Delta, Niger Delta. All this agitation, the meaning of it is that we have rejected this union of death. And we have put it together in one voice for you people. Ninas has made it easy. That's why we had constitutional force majeure, because we want to follow legally in what we're doing. We don't want people to scratch their head and jump out and say this. So that constitutional force majeure, the anniversary is coming up 16th of December. You're going to hear announcements on what will happen, because we told you it's a continued process, it's an ongoing process. And in that process also involves building consensus amongst all the indigenous peoples, all the natives that have been trapped in that corruption called Nigeria. And if we told you that is a failed experiment. Nigeria is a failed experiment by Lord Lugard. And that experiment has collapsed. And everybody that is truthful and honest to himself and herself knows that it has collapsed. And we have to find courage to execute the joint jailbreak of Nina's constitutional force majeure. That's what they call it. We are calling on everyone. We are persuading everyone. Stop everything you're doing in your little corners that will not give us the freedom that you're looking for. That will not. You mentioning self-determination in your music does not mean that you're working on a project to get you shouting self-determination on the radio will not give you self-determination. There is step-by-step approach put in place by United Nations that you are supposed to follow. And Ninas is leading us in that. So there is an urgent task. Most urgent task is for the owners of the land, the owners of the sovereignty, to take full responsibility and full charge of their space. Otherwise, terrorism will overtake you in your space. Otherwise, corruption will overtake you in your space. Otherwise, the Class 66, the terrorism that have put in place, the corruption they have put in place will swallow you and your people. So it's an urgent task that needs to be executed. You need to, that's what Nina broke us up in blocks, different manageable blocks that you can manage and then do what you're supposed to do. Each block, just contact Ninas and say, what are we going to do? What is next? Because if it took you 20 years, you did not know that 1999 constitution is what is holding you down.
1999 corruption.
Exactly. It took you 20 years to understand that. Is it going to take you another 20 years to understand the solution? The solution has been done. This on the table. So in order to keep your resources away from international marauders, embrace Nina's projects. Contact Nina's secretariat so that they will tell you what you need to do immediately. Your land, my land, must be retrieved from foreign marauders, whether foreign from Africa or foreign from wherever they are. It have to be retrieved immediately so that we can create the type of nation, the kind of existence we want for our people. These people are creating insecurity all over the country and it's spreading. Remember when Buhari told you that they will spread it all over? This security you're seeing, that they're going to spread it all over the world. Why do they want to do that? So that they will do martial law and bring Afghanistan to Nigeria. So there are two ways. Either they're going through their fake politics or through their martial law. What they want is to conquer the whole territory. And we're saying that you can change that trajectory today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've passed our time, but it was a necessity, so we had to deliver this message. Again, continue to help us to share this good news. Our people, don't let their position, their level of education, their other things that you may be afraid of, to think people know this information. They don't. They really do not have this information. So do not hesitate to share with everyone that comes across your way, because we really need to get this engraved. This is an empowerment. This is an empowerment tool, because if you understand these things, you can now tell the obedient people that it's not about you guys. It's not about you. We're talking about our collective well-being. We're
Yes.
not trying to win and eat rice and give each other high five, and then naira will turn into 1,500 naira to a dollar. That's not even where we're going. We're trying to do this the right way. It's like a dirty house. You don't want to clean it and pack dirt behind the curtain. No, really. We need to clean out the whole dirt, clean up the house, use the filter, air everything out so that when you come in, my daughter said you can see the crisps in the air.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for. Ayawogi, enemies of progress. We are not here to dump your style, because some people think, oh, let P2B go, let him go. We'll work with him. We'll tell him what to do.
No.
And we want you to understand that P2B lacks the capacity to help
Yep.
you. Not that he doesn't want to, maybe in his heart of hearts, he really wants to get it done. But because of what is set in Nigeria, he lacks the capacity to get anything done for you. So don't waste your time. Don't promote what you don't know. Don't think like is there some no, before I wasn't participating, but now I'm going to participate. I will be pushing P2B. Like, you can't push a car with no engine now. You can't push a car, it won't go anywhere. And we don't want to continue to drive to nowhere. We want to drive to a destination that we can sit at Bidokorono because we have to build this thing. We haven't even built anything. We want to get to a place where we are comfortable so we can begin to get our equipment out and start erecting things that is going to be there for years to come. So my sister mentioned lack of continuity. We want to continue this thing. When we are done and gone, our children will continue to build on it. Our goal is to leave this place better than we saw it. That is our goal. And it has nothing to do with politicians. It has nothing to do with your fake church leaders, because I will say they are all fake. They are all Hamadesranyuta. They are part of the problems where things have been going wrong all these years. They will tell you it's your forefathers holding, is that tree in front of your house, is that old house that your great-grandfather left, and we're busy knocking everything down, destroying everything still. What is happening? What is giving us stress is all still giving us stress. So this is the way out. This is the way out. Follow the Nina's way. The job has been done. God is not coming down from heaven. Word without end will continue to go on until we get this thing done. So we are happy to have you guys here. We'll see you next week. Help us to share, like, love, all those nice things. And until next week. Bye. Bye.